Should we take it to digital for our first segment this week, then have a look at some stuff? I was going to say take it to Amazon Prime, but our first film was going to be an Amazon release, but due to certain controversies, it is no longer. It is, of course, the new Woody Allen movie, so-called as his final film, given, obviously, controversies in real life and things like that, allegations. A Rainy Day in New York is out this week. I keep meaning to look it up. I have no idea which number Woody Allen film this is. I know we've had one every year since 1981, and that 2018 and 19 are the first years since that haven't had a new Woody Allen film.
Surely this is film 976, the same amount of time as it's been in lockdown. I mean, Woody Allen, doesn't he turn a film around every 9 weeks or something?
Something like that. And you do watch this. I will get to the explanation of just how that sort of seems to work and exactly where this has clearly gone wrong for the man. But obviously this is his latest venture. This stars Timothée Chalamet, Elle Fanning, Liev Schreiber, Diego Luna, Selena Gomez. Hell of a cast, as always, because, Woody Allen films. Somehow neither Alec Baldwin nor Diane Keaton turn up in this one, which blew my mind, because I didn't think he knew how to make a film without one of those two. And this one involves a young couple who have come from Yardley University. They're in New York for the day. They have respective things to be getting on with. They arrange to meet later after after Elle Fanning's character has gone off and done an interview for a journalist assignment. Timothée Chalamet's gone and just seen some old friends, etc. They're going to meet up later. But of course, things come up along the way. The weather turns. They're caught in a torrential downpour, and they go off on their own separate adventures that, in typical Woody Allen fashion, will see them question their life and their relationship.
Hey, you know what, Shan?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out here too. What are you doing now?
Why?
Why? Because I got a little bit of time to kill, and thought about going to the Modern Museum, look at the Ouija exhibit.
Oh, I see. You got nothing better to do, so you want me to keep you company?
You know what? Forget it. I dated your older sister. You always had a little bit of an attitude. Okay, I'm not looking for any trouble.
I've got to check out some paintings at the Met for fashion class, if you want to keep me company.
I don't know why you couldn't have just, Fine, it'll be fun. We can get on each other's nerves.
All right, let me change. I'm soaked. Are you hungry? I'd give you an Arizona lunch, but we're all out of beef jerky.
A lovely Woody Allen clip just there, but I always have to ask about Woody Allen films, and I feel a bit guilty as a film critic, where I feel like I should love Woody Allen, right? But I just don't enjoy it that much. I just don't get much out of his movies. Maybe it's the amount in which it kind of just, they flow out. I mean, Annie Hall, yes, you've got to watch it. It's a classic, It's all that kind of stuff that that as part of your portfolio you need to have on your list. And so I've definitely caught a few Woody Allen movies. But when a new one comes out, I don't get that excited.
I can absolutely understand that. And, for the longest time, I've been kind of the same way. I grew up not really being into the whole Woody Allen thing. I think when I started reviewing was when Midnight in Paris came out. And then, obviously, Blue Jasmine was a year or two after that. So there have been a few quite good ones along the way. There was one with Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone. I think that was Irrational Man. I thought that was quite good as well. I think we actually went to a screening together of that something like 7 years ago. But this one is not one of his better efforts, and like you say, it takes him like 9 weeks to make one of these. You watch a film like A Rainy Day in New York, and you do feel like this was put together in a fortnight. It does have that very boilerplate Woody Allen feel. It feels like Woody Allen's dinner theatre. It feels like, I've gone away and I've written this script over a weekend. Let's get to Monday. I'll ask Tim and Elle and Liev and Diego. We'll see if they want to do it, and we'll just messenger it over. They've got it by Monday lunchtime. We're in a cafe rehearsing by Tuesday lunchtime, and we're filming by Friday. We'll do that over the weekend. Boom. It's been 9 days. Here's a new Woody Allen movie. And it does feel like that all the way through. So the dialogue that you just heard in that clip, for instance, does feel like, quintessentially Woody Allen dialogue, but definitely not his better works, if you know what I mean. It feels very rushed. It feels like a Woody Allen movie made for streaming, which I know that we're trying to, differentiate how we view streaming releases. We're trying to, view streaming releases as more pedigree than we would have once upon a time, but this does feel like Woody Allen made a streaming movie, and all the worst connotations that come with that, I have to admit.
Okay, well, that's kind of an interesting viewpoint on it. And how many thumbs up are you going to give this one?
One thumb up, because I wasn't bored by it. You know, it is a quintessentially Woody Allen film, like I say, but it is one of his weaker, more phoned-in efforts, definitely.
Yeah, probably one of the back of the fag packet kind of Woody Allen movies. Like, that's probably how I describe it by your description.
I will say as well, you know that whole thing that Woody Allen does where one of his characters is clearly meant to be Woody Allen? You know, there's always one in every Woody Allen film. In this one, obviously, it's Timothée Chalamet, and seeing Timothée Chalamet being Woody Allen is the weirdest goddamn thing you've ever seen.
I can get that. Right, okay, moving on from Woody Allen, we've also got Guest of Honor, which is out on digital on Friday as well. I mean, you've had a lot of movies to watch this week, so tell us about this one.
So, Guest of Honor, new film from Canadian director Atom Egoyan. This stars David Thewlis and Luke Wilson. Can you imagine that as a? They're not an on-screen pair. They're in set in different time periods. But it's the story of an American restaurant health food inspector. He's the guy that certifies, puts the health certificate in the windows of every restaurant. Tends to specialise in sort of Turkish or Armenian kebab house type restaurants, and, Indian takeaways and things like that, on buffets in the back of bars and things like that. He has something of a tortured personal life having to do with his daughter serving prison time for an incident involving an inappropriate relationship with a student. The details are not completely clear though, and as he starts to learn more, and as she tells us more in a different time period, we start to learn more of just what's gone on behind the scenes of all this, and it leads to something of an unraveling. I've got a clip for you of early on, and this is just Thewlis enjoying his life as the health inspector.
Yes, I'm very impressed for a new establishment.
So, we got a good rating?
Yeah, you've done a wonderful job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I just need to sign this certificate so you can put it in.
So it's got a vibe to it. It's got a tone. It works.
Yeah, okay, good. When you first started describing this and you said, you know, it's a guy that puts up certifications in restaurants, I was like, are we got another Woody Allen film on hands? Have we got that route?
Well, I will say that, having gone into this purely with the remit, because the plot synopses that you read around are, you know, it's about, you know, a guy with trauma involving his daughter who works as a health inspector. I was like, okay, this sounds like the most bizarre idea for a film. Sat down, started watching it, and within minutes, I was hooked. It does get you. The drama is very gripping. Think something like a sort of halfway measure between... Did you see Una with Ben Mendelsohn and Rooney Mara a couple of years ago?
No.
That was an interesting one. It's sort of halfway between that and Thunder Road, although better than either film, I will say that. Thewlis is tremendous in it. Egoyan's handling of it, the script, the look of it, the style of it, the tone, the pacing of it, all very good. It's a little bit imbalanced as regards when it shifts from the father to the daughter, but when it gets that balance right, it is brilliant. I was really hooked on this. I think genuine 2 thumbs up. Great movie. Cannot recommend it highly enough.
Great, fantastic. And then moving on from the Guest of Honor, we're going to talk a little bit about Echo in the Canyon. Now, I've not heard about this one, so again, let's run through it.
This is a nostalgia-driven documentary about the music scene in Laurel Canyon in California in the 60s, around the time that all of the iconic musicians of the era started to just hang out there and form their own community. And you had, for instance, the Mamas and the Papas, you had the Byrds, you had the Beach Boys, you know, the Beatles were there. This is where the Beatles discovered acid and things like that. And it's just about the culture of this environment, how it just impacted the music scene forever.
To be that close to the Sunset Strip, and yet you had to feel that you were in the country. It's beautiful.
Laurel Canyon, it's like an open ticket to a studio, to a record, to everything.
That's an incredible environment for a musician to be in.
I fell in love with it. All the
They were all there.
This kind of thing could only happen in Laurel Canyon.
Not a mind-blowing documentary, nothing revelatory, but in terms of just a really great celebration of music, unmissable, very nostalgia-fueled, very good time.
And, you know, like something like Netflix, for instance, is really, really strong in terms of their documentary game. Does this feel like this is something that, yes, you could get it on digital, but actually give it a few more weeks or a few more months, you might see it on something you're already paying for as part of the subscription.
Absolutely, and I think this is the kind of thing that if you did see it on a streaming platform, if you did see this through your streaming provider like Netflix or Amazon Prime, something like that, I think it's a film you would sit and it's 82 minutes long. It's got a great soundtrack, obviously. It's nice to see all these musicians reflecting and looking back on, the music that made us, kind of a thing. And it's just a lovely, nice, nostalgic documentary. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It doesn't need to. What it does is spin that wheel in a way that you know and love, play some classic tunes while it goes, and ensure that you have a good time by the end of it. I wouldn't recommend it overly, but I think if you want a nice, cheap and cheerful music documentary fronted by Jacob Dylan, and a documentary in which he and Fiona Apple perform Beach Boys songs on stage with Beck, then, look no further. I mean, it's a very niche market, admittedly, but you know what? I had a good time with it, and I would give it a look. I'd say just give it a look for a fun afternoon, I would say.